Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and as always, welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussions. This time, we are discussing, in our alignment series, Lawful Evil. But first, announcements. Always less than 5 minutes, I guess, for all of us here recently. So, you can time us. Here we go. As far as announcements for the Inn of Planar Crossroads, y'all are starting to see the 3D assets that I've been working on and slowly integrating, and I think that's going to be what continues to happen. I put out a little poll recently about the desire or preference for 3D assets or 2D assets that I draw out, and it was literally split down the middle. So thanks y'all for really helping me out on a preference for that one. But so what we'll probably do is I'll start working on intros and outros first, let y'all see it, get used to it, and then we'll branch into some full 3D video assets and stuff later. But that should be fun for everybody, especially if we ever get to return to the Lord Keeper series and things like that. I've got ideas on how I would film and work those things out. So, there's that. I don't have a whole bunch of announcements other than that. So, we will branch over to... I think it's... I gotta use my other hand. It's this way. In the recording, It is Dan from Avenue Studios. What you got?
Oh, the same old. We're on YouTube and podcasts everywhere you can find it. Rumble as well for most of our stuff. We're working on mirroring everything over there too, so check us out. We just finished for us it's January, so Happy New Year. Just finished our Cogent one-shot game, so you can watch that all in a row now. Really cool stuff. I highly recommend it. The players took my story from goofy to serious, and it was amazing. So check that out, and hopefully we'll be on Twitch one of these days, so we'll keep you posted on that.
I don't know. He says that the players took it serious. If you believe Ryan, he's on record as saying that it was not his fault that it went that way. He was literally a baby. Literally a naked baby named Cheeks. So that was
Cogent.
Not his idea.
It's great. You should really check it out and check out Cogent. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
There you go. And if there's nothing else from Avenue Studios, that means that we can pop over to Levi, who is here with us this time, and he definitely had a spotlight ready, so here's his spotlight.
I totally had it ready before we were already on the call. I did not have to Google anything. Or remember a dude who I've internetly met, as opposed to the normal personally?
Nice.
Deadly D8. I do not know who all works on it, but they have fun animations and talk about stuff with Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Yeah, I've heard of Deadly D8.
Yeah, they're fun. No one else would know it, but he was a cleric monk for a little bit in the game I was in.
Alright. Well, that is all of our announcements, I guess. And we are still within our 5 minutes, I believe, because I recorded bloopers ahead of time. Oh, that is an announcement I need to make. I did put out... One of the polls that I put out was kind of split on whether to keep the bloopers in or to put them in different videos or something like that. So what I'm going to do is limit the amount of bloopers that we have and space them out for y'all. So what we'll do is we'll put about 5 minutes of bloopers after each of these talks, because we get plenty of bloopers after these talks. And then if I want to, I might release videos occasionally that have bloopers in, that have just blooper videos for everybody or something along those lines. So you guys can play a game of whether that blooper came from this video or a previous one. And, there you go. All right. I think that's everything now. Are we ready to get into Lawful Evil for this discussion?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, travelers, sit down, rest yourselves by the fire, warm your feet, and take your preferred beverage in hand as we begin our discussion on Lawful Evil. And to make sure that we clarify, we probably need to do this at the beginning of each video. We are talking about cosmic lawful evil, not personal lawful evil. And this was a comment kind of brought this to our attention in our lawful good comments. This is cosmic lawful evil, not personal lawful evil, or even lawfulness regarding the laws of the land necessarily. So there's that to consider. And we're assuming in this whole series that you are incorporating lawful evil into your campaigns. This is not a discussion on trying to convince you to use alignment. This is just a discussion on if you have. So Dan was going to start us off with one of his ideas that stems from our last video on lawful neutral. So take it away.
Yeah. So with the lawful evil, we had started talking about Dexter, the TV show, the serial killer. Because I wasn't sure. I was thinking maybe is he lawful neutral, but Adam made some really good points with lawful evil in that he's going to kill people regardless, but he's using this code that his father gave him and is following it to the letter so that it does good. So it does. Adam made a great point that it makes a great character representation that in a way that you could play lawful evil, where he wants to do this because for lawful evil, most of what I've seen it played as is using the law for your own gains. I think there's more in there because I was also thinking about, and I'd like to hear what you guys think about this as well. First Dexter, and then also if you know Sword Art Online, I actually think Kayaba, the guy who made the first game that they all got trapped in, is kind of lawful evil. He stays bound to the game, but he has no scruples as to killing people, clearly. And he even seems to possibly enjoy it when he kind of kills Asuna's character. And then there's this whole relationship with his girlfriend, too, that's clearly not healthy. But so that's what, like we talked about with lawful good, and it kind of came up in the comment discussion, too, is the using the law as a means for the good is one of the ways that I've looked at it. And so this is the same thing, that the law is a means, it's the best means to accomplish your goal. And that goal at a cosmic level is going to be evil. It's probably going to be more self-centered and not take into account the needs of other people. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking so far.
Okie dokie. And I can, since I was there for that particular discussion, for the Dexter thing, for those that didn't watch that, for one, why did you not watch that? And for two, we said that we kind of came to a joint agreement that Dexter probably would classify as lawful evil, not lawful neutral, because, like you said, he's going to do those evil acts. He wants to do those evil acts, and he's only using the law to further his ability to do that evil. It's not about the law itself being a good thing or something that promotes good or protects good. So he's not lawful neutral because he doesn't consider that rule itself that his father gave him, those rules, that set of conduct that his father gave him, to be morally superior and the right way to balance the universe. Nor does he...
It's literally to keep him alive. He follows those rules so he won't get caught, so he can continue.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you see that in place in him, and it is, like you pointed out, a really good way to show how lawful evil characters, cosmically lawful evil characters, can actually work within a party. He's literally in the police force, and he only kills criminals. And while that's...
And not just criminals, but like...
the worst.
Yeah.
Or, what's he say in one part where he's... when the one cop figures it out and catches him, he's like, my code I follow is better than the legal system. It's vastly superior. I have to check way more boxes before I pick my target.
Yeah, a monster hunting monsters.
Yeah.
Right. And it's one of those things that's become very popular in I say modern, but kind of in I guess you'd say semi-modern now. It's kind of getting old. The medias and the different fictions to use those evil, really evil characters to do good things. And while that's not new as a concept, it's been fairly new promoted as a admirable thing in recent history. So you can see where that can be not necessarily the hero of stories, but a group of characters who are lawful evil can still be considered the protagonists of a story that you as the LM or GM are running, without worrying about, hey, is everybody going to try and kill each other by the end of this? Because, and this is something I do remember bringing up the last time I had this discussion with someone, as far as videos. Evil characters still care about people. It's just usually people that either benefit them or that are directly related to them or that they have particular attachments to. You don't have to be bloodthirsty all the time to be evil. In fact, even evil people in real world, like if you took real world people, there are clearly people who have done evil and been evil, and yet they still cared about maybe their children or their lover or their family.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else was just, a means to an end, like we talked about.
And I think this could come back to the cosmic versus the interpersonal, because I was thinking, and maybe you guys can think of an example here. I feel like there's an example, and I couldn't pull it out of my head, but if someone utilizing coming to power, growing to power, because they have a goal in mind that they see as a perfection, but as long as they are working within the law and establishing this power, anything goes. As long as you get to that goal, and they become lawful evil, because I could see a lot of government type bureaucrats being lawful evil. But thinking, well, I'm doing this for the good of the future descendants or something. So those in front of me, if you're not going to follow these rules, I'm just going to take you out, or I'm going to use this to get into power because I'm the one who can best make this vision come to be. And they, again, personally, they might think they're doing the right thing, but from a cosmic level, they're doing a lot of evil acts to achieve that end.
Hmm. And even on a cosmic level, that means that they are doing massive amounts of evil to accomplish a good doesn't necessarily mean that you've done good. It simply means that you've accomplished a good thing amongst all this other evil stuff. Having watched some of the... shout out to Mortismal Gaming. I watched his lore video on games that he reviews. He 100% games and then reviews them. He did it for the Divinity Original Sin, the whole series that's currently out. And in that, Lucian is the divine, that's what he's called. And he is basically a demigod and can do a lot of stuff that demigods can do, but he does a lot of bad things to do what he thinks is good, and that's where you can get personal perceptions running into a problem with what actually is going on in that cosmic level of alignment. Another example that can be looked at that would be like the going past the idea of pretending to do good. You got that gradual descent into the evil over the good. And that's Sauron and Saruman. They're both lawful evil. Especially in the books, they're both lawful evil. Because Saruman is about machinations and all of those things. And he lies and he cheats and he steals to get his version of what he thinks would be correct. Not necessarily good in the sense, but correct for the world. And Saruman was not much different than that. His goals were similar, but he turned out much differently, had a lot more power and all that type of stuff. And so you see, there are two representations of lawful evil, even within the same story, doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have another example from popular media before I go into my next one? I don't want to crowd out anybody's ideas on it.
So, I think one of the archetypal ways, as opposed to a specific character, but as an organization, to view lawful evil is mafia or organized crime, right? There's strict codes and ways everyone has to go about things towards the end goal of what would be evil in the sense of, like, putting a detriment to most people's well-being for their specific well-being. But, like, they work for each other, they do still care for each other because they are still people. They will protect their little bits of community that work with them. But there's that stringent cruelty behind it.
Yep, I like that. If ever anyone's seen In Bruges, that definitely has... It's Irish mafia, I think, or something. Definitely has that, where the leader is a clear lawful evil.
Gotcha.
It's got a lot of dirty language, so I don't know that I'd necessarily recommend it to everyone, but it's the story, the character development is very interesting.
Yep. And that's a good point about organized crime. The idea is that it's organized, so there's the law portion, crime, which is the evil portion. And if you have characters that are engaging in that, then they are going to be affected by it in some way. And it actually is a interesting idea to point out things like the mob, or like, not necessarily Capone or those, but like the Yakuza in Japan, they're known to exist and they have a lot of stuff against them in those things. But there are, at least for sure in the past, there have been neighborhoods, while they were under the thumb of the Yakuza, they actually did better because the Yakuza took care of its neighborhood, and they had bad things happen to certain people. It was very controlled. The evil of it was very controlled evil. And you have that idea there of, and you can see why then perhaps even perhaps even good people would prefer to have a known lawful evil to deal with than a unknown neutral or chaotic evil force to deal with in their lives. A known evil is easier to deal with than an unknown evil. And that's true in your games too. I mean, I as a player, I would much rather have to deal with a devil than a daemon or a demon, or a protean especially, because I mean, lore-wise, those guys are just all over the place, and you cannot trust anything that comes out of their mouth. At least with a devil, a contract devil or something like that, your player, you the player, and you the character that you're playing would know, hey, at least this guy's going to stick to at least the letter of the law. Now that letter may favor them or you.
Better read every letter.
Every letter. Make sure that letter's not made up of other letters. Make sure it doesn't have any double meaning.
That's what I love from an NPC villain side for Lawful Evil too, is that work. But I did want to say off of that too, I played in a campaign where it was actually the Lawful Good character I played, and one of my friends was playing Lawful Evil character. And shout out to Sammy, Zach's little brother. He's on our channel for Togard. Doesn't know. He played an amazing Lawful Evil character. It worked great in the party. He did some stuff that was totally evil, but it never disrupted the game. I mean, it made all of us go like, ah! He was a red cap. It was hilarious.
A red cap.
Oh.
A Lawful Evil red cap. And it was just really great. But the way our characters, we ended up semi-purposely like having us do things together. And we had this like agreement where like, I don't like why you use the law, but I respect that you at least respect law as a concept. And that was kind of, we had this like tension between our characters that was really cool. So to say that a Lawful Evil character in a good campaign can be played. I think Matt Colville's actual play has that. I can't remember the character, but the girl with the glasses plays a tiefling who's Lawful Evil, and she does a really good job with that character as well.
Cool beans.
So it's doable.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to bring up was, of course, Asmodeus and Hell and stuff like that. Those are very characteristic Lawful Evils, but there's actually a set of deities that I like very much as Lawful Evil, and then contrasted with Neutral Good, which worked out for our video this time, or at least our recording session. But there's the Lawful Evil deity Zon-Kuthon from Pathfinder. Zon-Kuthon basically thinks Cenobites. Like, if you've watched Hellraiser or something like that, pain is pleasure, and you have such sights to show you type of thing, and all of that. And for those that don't know, in that, his Neutral Good sister, he also was Neutral Good at some point, and he was named Dobolog or something like that. It's in my lore videos. You can go and check those out. So there you go. It's in the archive series. But really neat interaction, because he goes off with his glaive. He goes off and ventures into the deep void. He comes back as Zon-Kuthon. He's been corrupted from that Neutral Good to that Lawful Evil. And that torture and that mutilation and that gives him satisfaction. And that's something that you can see in the different, like, I think it's Nidal is a kingdom that's been dominated by his worship through the years. And so you can see that in the Nidals in the Pathfinder Golarian setting. And he represents an evil, but it is something that has been corrupted from the good. And it's a different kind of evil than you see in, like, Asmodeus, who's doing it for power. Who's after power. But some evil is not after power. Some evil has its own order. Like, the order of the universe is what it says. What it wants to be. Those type of things. I'll probably try and put that in the bloopers. But anyway, the idea of that Lawful Evil being so much different than the Lawful Evil you see in, like, the Devils. Well,
yeah.
I don't know much about the Sword Art Online actual anime. One, because I was not drawn in by that particular anime. I didn't find it particularly a good anime. But
I have a dear friend who loved it, so I made sure to stay up to date.
Well, you can tell me why you think it's good in the comment section below if you ever watch this. But
there we go.
I don't like it at all. I like the abridged series much better.
I love
Sword Art Online abridged is really funny.
I have not seen that. I'll have to check that out.
It's pretty funny, but that type of character could be considered Lawful Evil. He did have to make the universe, though. I'd have to know more about the story. From what I understand about the story, I don't necessarily think I would call him Lawful Evil. Maybe Neutral Evil.
Well, he set the rules of the game, and he died by those rules. Even when he could have changed it, he set the rules. He still wanted to die. I don't if someone does want to watch it, don't give it too away. Man, it's fun. It's been a while. Spoiler, but he dies by the rules of the game that he set, and follows them. This plan he has, he follows it without breaking a step.
Which would be argued that a neutral evil character would be more likely, towards the end of it, to break the rules to maintain what had been made.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I would think so. So, I don't know, it's definitely an out-of-the-box option I thought of. I was trying to look for some out-of-the-box ones, too. But I think, you could make an argument a couple ways. Because then, of course, his character shows up later on. But within the first arc.
Yeah, see, that's my problem. See, because the whole thing is like, that doesn't make sense from the last time we saw you. You were doing something different. There's no... As I know. Nope, I'm good. There's other anime I can watch. That's beside the point.
Yeah.
That's beside the point.
Yeah, I mean, we should throw out real quick, too, is I think, and actually I saw some people disagree with this, but the Sith in Star Wars. And a lot of people using Darth Vader as an example in, the little images with the 9 points. But, yeah, I think the Sith is a fair example, because they have their Sith code, and they follow it. They expect the betrayal, master kills the apprentice, or... So I definitely think they fall pretty well into general lawful evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they lean that way, with certain specific groups varying away from it, because they're like too small of an organization to really keep the grip, to keep that exact specific way for as long.
Mm-hmm.
But like in their, I suppose, idealized or archetypal state, they are lawful evil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I think Darth Vader actually makes a good example. He's almost an anti-paladin in a way, like a paladin that fell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you go by D&D standards, that would make him chaotic evil, not lawful evil. But
True.
That's actually
I think
something...
he just fell in evil.
If we want to go in Pathfinder 2e, he would be a tyrant.
There we go. See, I was about to say, Pathfinder 2 actually fixed that problem with champions rather than paladins.
Yeah, because that would seem weird. Why do you have to fall out of both parts of it?
Yeah. I mean, it actually makes a lot more sense for a paladin to shift into lawful evil rather than go all the way chaotic evil.
Right.
Because they spent their whole life ordered.
Right. Yeah, that would have to be like... that would actually be a cool story where it's that big a shift. Because that's just a complete repositioning of your whole psychology.
Yeah. Like, to me it would make the most sense that, like, generally speaking, you would go from your lawful good to your lawful neutral to your lawful evil to your neutral evil to your chaotic evil.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That, I would think that's how a paladin would become a tyrant.
Unless you, like, got a complete and... Well, that would be to get... the chaotic evil is not tyrant. Lawful evil was tyrant.
Okay.
Chaotic evil is actually still anti-paladin.
They should have gave it a new name than just paladin.
I think inverted paladin would have felt a little better, because they are everything that a paladin is not.
They're just right on the nose.
Yeah. I think that there's like a characteristic...
So I could be misremembering.
There should
anyway,
be.
core point. Generally, alignment moves more in steps like that, though I could see moving to true neutrality if you stopped caring about... Like, if you had some world-breaking revelation that made you stop caring about anything else you ever cared about in your life.
Right. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Last person I wanted to bring up, which I don't necessarily think fits into the ideas that you see in D&D for undead, is Dracula. Classic Dracula, mind you. Classic Dracula feels very much more like a lawful evil character than he does a chaotic evil, which is the default, or neutral evil, which is the default for undead in most settings like Pathfinder and D&D.
Mm-hmm.
So I would argue that he's lawful evil, and you can see that in the way he behaves. He doesn't obey the order that is there because he wants to be good or wants to be obedient to the order. He obeys it because he must, like having to be invited in and those type of things.
Well, okay. So I have a slight qualm with saying following that sort of rule because you must makes you lawful, because when I am not flying because flapping my arms doesn't work, like I'm not making a moral decision, I'm just not wasting my effort to attempt flapping my arms. Like, walking up to a wall and assuming you will phase through it is not something a chaotic character would do. You still have to balance law and chaos amongst the actions you can actually take.
Okay.
Now, I don't remember the story well enough to have said if his other actions within that were lawful or chaotic or neutral. But I'm more talking like these sorts of... If it's magically enforced, I would not consider that part of their morality.
That's fair. If the order of the universe that they would want to transgress can't be transgressed because of the actual enforcement magically, then I can see where that would come in. I still think the book, at least the book, Dracula, would be considered lawful evil. Now, I can definitely see like the Bram Stoker's Dracula from the movies being more of a neutral evil, but not chaotic necessarily. I mean, he does blaspheme the church and make a deal with the devil and stuff like that in the show, in the movie of Bram Stoker's Dracula. But
you made me think of one of my favorite cheesy sci-fi series, Underworld. I would actually argue that the leaders of that vampire clan, that's lawful evil. Yeah,
I could see that. At least in the first movie, for sure.
Right, yeah. I love those. But that definitely made me think of it. And the only other reason I was smiling is like, I'm pretty sure there's a chaotic gnome out there that would try to phase through a wall.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's because as a gnome, they have the weird magic to do it.
Right.
That it might just work one of those times.
Right.
I mean, if it doesn't work, they can always just get through the wall eventually.
Yeah, somehow.
Slam into it enough times, the drywall's gonna break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a fair point. But I do I can definitely see a version of being lawful evil for vampires. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think that like regal aristocracy style vampire makes a lot of sense for lawful evil, because you're taking all of those weird social roles and then like adding other aspects. So I think it makes enough sense. I just more wanted to put out the point of like morality can only
inability to transgress the law is not the same as choice to transgress the law.
Right. Like, just because you don't break out of prison, and maybe you don't even try because you know you can't, that doesn't make you lawful while you're there.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Yep.
Fair point. And why we have these discussions on our thing, so we can better understand it. And that's about what I've got. Do you guys have anything else you want to add for our lawful discussion, as we're coming up a little over time?
I think the only other thing I'd add in general, if you're playing a lawful evil character, especially with other non-evil, one of the ways I've seen it done well too is that you're being punished for some transgression from a higher power. And so you're forced, because you will follow the law, you must follow this law, but you'll do as much evil as you can with this group. I've seen that done. I think that's how in Matt Colville's game it's played, and I've seen it done personally too, which is kind of cool.
Public service.
Effectively.
Ooh, yeah.
Okie dokie.
And you know that, like, that adventurers get paid well and get pretty terrifyingly powerful.
Yeah.
It's not the worst deal.
Yeah, tend to have loose morals.
And
True.
you get to kill sentient creatures if that's your bag, so...
Yeah.
That's true.
It could be a great way to integrate yourself in a party. You can play it if you're delicate with it, and you do that evil flavor nicely and carefully. It really can make a campaign really fun. That's not an evil campaign, but a good campaign, but you're playing an evil character.
Yeah. Lawful Evil is definitely the easiest one to go about it with.
Yep.
Right. All right, then.
Cool.
As always, have a great day. God bless and enjoy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Dungeon masters have to be all the alignments. Otherwise, how could we not? How could we play the characters? You know.
Exactly. Oh, I should shut down Premiere.
You want us to be the bad guy, right?
All right.
Oh, dude, you sent me not only the actual. You sent me the actual link to the book. I'm downloading that sucker.
Yeah, I literally just... Because I googled it, it took me to D&D Tools. That told me the source, so I literally just googled D&D 3.5 Heroes of Horror. I clicked on the first link that popped up, and there it was. So you're welcome. My computer was being nice to me.
The lords of the internet have blessed you this day.
Yeah. So it's, do you know much about how, like, D&D kind of works? I don't know how much you've played with that, Dan.
Yeah, I started in Pathfinder. Well, technically, I started in 3.5. I didn't know it at the time.
Well, this is a
and then I played a lot of
3.5 class.
Okay.
So, the interesting thing about it is it's an intelligence-based divine caster.
Yeah.
Oh.
The idea is
cool.
they, like, make prayers and whatnot, and they archive it.
That's cool. Wizard priest.
Yes, unironic. So the only reason I knew about it is because forever ago I, like, had a group I played 3.5 with for a little bit, and we like doing Gestalt stuff every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you want to be single attribute dependent, but you both want the arcane and divine lists.
Mm-hmm.
So you play a wizard archivist and you have too many spells.
Yeah.
Too many spells.
Too many spells.
Or, you know, so you do that, and it's easy to become a arcane theurge or whatever it is.
Yes, that gets real busted. I never
That's
actually
me.
got to play it.
You know, that's me at level whatever. You know, I'm just throwing it out there. See, if we say that like level 20 would be level 100 in age for humans, I guess you would do that. So it's 5 times. So somewhere in there, you'd eventually
That makes them
be
terrifying
able to multi-class.
5-year-olds. Like level 1 characters aren't nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you met my 5-year-old?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all those 5-year-olds, they all respec. They all talk to their GM and respec when they hit, I don't know, teenage years. So that's just the truth of the matter.
I love it.
All right, you got your spotlight ready?
Always.
Nope.
Pat, no. I've been looking and didn't find anything that piqued my fancy. Yeah, they're fun. No one else would know it, but he was a cleric monk for a little bit in the game I was in.
Awesome.
Okay.
So he would punch people and then inflict harm on them.
Yeah. All right. Inflict wounds. I'm definitely inflicting wounds. Definitely.
Well, you know, twice. No. Legitimately. So mechanically, because attacks get harder to do the more you make of them in Pathfinder, and inflict wounds is a saving throw that is not affected by that, after so many attacks, it was more lethal to switch over to inflict wounds.
Oh.
That's
instead of
cool.
attacking more. So it was a very
Flavor-like.
mixture.
Yeah. flavor it like hitting chi lines or interrupting something.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then he blew up into a blood ooze.
Oh,
What a way to go.
He IRL, he had to, stop being a part of the game.
you said he IRL, and I'm like, he IRL exploded into a blood ooze?
Yeah, and IRL fought off a blood ooze. I'm that tough. Believe it.
I want to hang out with you guys more.
Yeah.
I don't know, you might turn into a blood ooze. Doesn't sound like a good time.
With great power
I guess so.
comes giant oozes.
A lot of things come up. Display.
That is an attention-starved cat, apparently.
It's something. That cat. That displacer beast.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
yeah. Oh, I'm glad real cats don't have displacement. That'd be horrifying.
Or do
They
they?
would, wouldn't they? Yeah.
I'm sure that there's a reason that a displacer beast is modeled like a cat. Like a
Right.
panther.
Yeah.
So... But anyway,